We're professionals here, Chris. Hey, welcome to the best of everything. I am Ruben Paul.
The music.
We'll probably be replacing our tech guy, Chris. But anyway, we have a very special show today. But I want to introduce my brother from another mother, my annoying partner in crime, Mr. Johnny Portuguese Sanchez.
Epa.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
How are you, man?
Yeah, I did my DNA test.
Yeah,
I found out I'm more Portuguese than I am Mexican.
He's been living a lie all this time, Brian. We found out.
But let's keep that under wraps because I keep getting calls to do Latino tours. So let's just. I need the work, bro.
So we're gonna make the accent a little bit heavier.
I need the work, eh? So, hey, look, just keep on coming with the Latino tours.
No Portuguese.
Hey, by the way, man, Sanchez, the last name Sanchez, finally ended up on one of the memes with the little cat. You know that cat?
Yeah, what the cat?
You know that white cat, bro?
Yeah,
that everybody's been passing around.
Yeah,
they finally did a Dirty Sanchez one, bro.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, man. Way. Orale, way.
Anyway, that's my brother Johnny Sanchez, and we have a very special guest.
Yeah.
Very excited to have this guy here on the heels of Veterans Day.
Right, Veterans,
which
Veterans Month should be Veterans Day every day.
Absolutely.
But of course, we wanted him for Veterans Day, the podcast that we were going to do, but we got him either way.
He's here.
We got him.
The one and only Bryan Yarbro.
You said that with a question.
You have to roll your R. You have to roll your R.
I have to roll it, man.
He said it with a question mark.
Yeah.
He's all Bryan
Yarbro. Yes.
Yarbro. I was thinking of Yarbro because you kept saying bro.
Yeah. Yarbro. Yarbro.
But Bryan, you've served our country, and you're a Navy SEAL, which I find fascinating, and a lot of people do.
Yes.
And, we're excited, man. It's almost like you're a real-life superhero, man.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
So.
This guy, man.
Washed up ass.
When I saw him, I was like, I could take this guy. As soon as I walked in, I was like, nah, you better bring in a black Navy SEAL for me. But there's only like 4. But we got Bryan here, and we're excited to have you, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Glad to be here. Happy to be here.
You know what's funny about Bryan is he sends me his bio that I forwarded to you guys. We'll have to put it up on the. So he sends to me, and I'm reading. First, he says, "Hey, man, you don't have to read this word for word."
Yeah, please don't.
I go, no.
We didn't plan on it, Bryan. Have you listened to the show?
You gotta see, yeah.
Yeah.
So then I end up texting him back. I'm like, "Holy shit, dude!" And he's like, I'm like, "My God!" And it's like, "Yeah, not that impressive, not that dude." I mean, unbelievable. Where you from the start to when you retired how many years ago?
2012. December
Okay, 2012.
And how long did you serve?
Just under 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 29 years, 8 months, 20 days.
And how long as a SEAL?
All of it. Yeah.
All of it from day one.
Well, yeah, you go through boot camp and then a quick school, and then next thing I know, I'm laying on the surf, so I'm freezing my ass off.
Showtime.
Yeah.
Man.
So you went into the Navy, right?
Yep.
You went in and
that's the phrase. Navy SEAL.
No.
Not Army SEAL.
But when he's like basic training. No, I get it. I just want no, because there's people.
No, I know. I'm just
trust me. Just because there might be people that are like, hey, did he go into one branch and then which I don't even know if that's doable. I have heard of people serving in separate branches. They did 4 years here, and then they went Army, and then they go to Air Force or whatever. Yeah. But I'm curious because we were talking a little earlier about if we I think Chris did you do ROTC? Who did ROTC? We were talking about ROTC school. Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
Oh, Bobby did ROTC.
Yeah. And then, so was this something? And I was. We've talked about this, but I was wavering between serving in the Army or the Marines. But my dad talked me out of it. Remember, my dad told me I can't talk back. Remember that?
Yeah. Of
Okay.
course. I mean,
Yeah.
he's
We're doing a show right now,
I
right?
know I'm pulling up the live feed. Can I do that?
Okay.
Can you handle your business while I handle my business over here?
I only do that.
Well, I'm gonna, here,
I only do
let me
that,
get
Bryan,
him-
because
I need
this
to get on board
guy
with this.
just loves ignoring me, man. I
listen
can't.
to every. How long have we been friends? I listen to you.
You know, I'm kind of starting to think too long. Because now you're just like, last night, man, I come and try to give this dude a hug. He's too busy with his comic friends.
Johnny, because some of us work. And you just pop up at like 11 o'clock feeling good. Hey, what's up, motherfuckers? Hey, I'm like,
yeah. I'm supposed to be, you're the guy that always goes, man, John, you need to swing by, man. Show your face at Ruby Tuesdays.
By the way, Johnny lives less than 5 minutes away from the Laugh Factory.
5 minutes? I'm like 200 feet.
I didn't want to tell everybody,
okay.
put your business out there.
But
damn, man.
All right, so.
Can we get back to
Yes.
Bryan, please?
But you never show up.
Yeah, but thank you, Bryan. Thank you. Oh, I live 2 minutes away. I still don't give a shit about your show.
All right.
I've seen it.
Okay. All right. So you're in high school. When did you start thinking about the military? Were you younger? Did you people in the family, where did all that?
Yeah, it's not a super simple question now that I've had an opportunity in my life to actually, grow through it and have lived through it. Mm-hmm. I was looking for structure in my life and ended up pretty much leaving my parents at the age of 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
And couch surfed a little bit and ended up with my aunt and uncle in San Diego. And my uncle was a Vietnam-era Navy SEAL, combat vet.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, man, this guy's super cool. I'm gonna see what he does. And the more I watched him and the people he hung out with, I'm like, these dudes are legit. I'm gonna do that.
Oh, wow.
And I had no idea. What a Navy SEAL was.
Yeah.
But
you made that connection through him. Was like, I want to be like him.
Well, I was just looking, and I didn't realize this as a 15-year-old punk.
Of course, yeah.
But I was just looking for structure. And I showed up at their house with, hair to my shoulders, Greyhound bus from Modesto.
Valley.
Running from something I didn't understand, looking for something that I didn't know what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Day one, I sleep on their couch, wake up the next morning like at 9 o'clock, which I hadn't seen 9 o'clock in the morning in, months probably. Yeah. Wow. And my aunt's like, we're going to get a haircut. And I'm like, what? Next thing I know, I look like, a dude in the military. Mm-hmm. They shaved all my hair off. And then she took me shopping to Mervin's out in Bonita. Bought me clothes.
Whisper out Mervin's.
Bought me clothes. I hadn't had new clothes, right? A lot of new clothes in a long time. And then, so that was the start of it. But then I spent my junior year of high school with them, and there was rules. They'd beat my ass. They'd ground me. But then
your grandparents were black.
What's that?
No, just
no. These are his uncle. This is his uncle. This is your aunt and uncle.
Yeah, that's
your
my
aunt and uncle.
Yeah, San Diego.
No, just so I'm just curious. Is this your father's brother? Your mom's
mother's side?
Okay, this is your mother's side.
So what made you choose your aunt and uncle to go down to San
Diego?
Diego?
I was going to ask the next question.
I have no idea. I got clearance from my mother at the time, who there was really no structure, not a lot of rules in my life, and I'm like, hey, want to do something this summer?
Yeah.
And I got in San Diego, and I knew when I was on the bus going there, I wasn't going home.
Wow.
I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I wasn't going home.
Yeah. At your house with your mom, was your dad around?
My parents were divorced when I was 5.
Oh, okay.
And so they went through multiple marriages, and it was just it was
so you were basically with your mom then at that point at 15, crazy, partying, obviously having a good time, and then you right?
Me or her? Yes, both.
Or both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what?
Interesting.
Did you have a relationship prior with your aunt and uncle before you went to go
Hadn't
live with
seen
them?
him in years.
Oh, wow.
Hadn't seen him in years, yeah.
And that's awesome they were willing to take you in.
Yeah, well, they had a son my same age.
Oh, okay.
And we actually followed parallel paths into the Navy.
Oh, wow.
And
did he become a SEAL also?
He did not, no.
Oh, okay.
He got medically dropped, as I understand it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Now, but your uncle, he's a Vietnam vet. Was he also a SEAL?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so this is where. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that.
And that's how I ended up on the path to being, the career I had.
Yeah.
So I was, basically I looked at him, I'm like, I want to be like that dude. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea what that meant. I just knew it, I had to go in the Navy.
So do you think that made your process easier becoming a SEAL because you had a form of reference? Like you could ask your uncle questions. Like, did he prep you for what you were going to go to? Did that help you mentally for the process you had to go through?
He did 3 things for me.
Okay.
He gave me a knife, which I still have to this day. He gave me a set of boots because the boots we used were Vietnam-era boots. Now, this was 1985. Vietnam-era boots that needed to be broke in. And he goes, break them in. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. He goes, put them on your feet and wear them until they're comfortable. So I started doing that. And then the third thing he did is he basically said, I'm not going to give you a leg up.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was brilliant because, excuse me, the more you know, the more you have the fear going into it. But ignorance is bliss, especially as a 17-year-old young man.
Yeah.
You know, you think you're bulletproof.
Yeah.
And you hit this training, and now if you have these thoughts in your mind like, oh, Hell Week's coming up, they're going to keep me up for 5 days. Or I'm going to have to swim, across the pool and back, which doesn't sound hard, but it's a huge pool. All these things and these tests you have to do to become a Navy SEAL now become exponentially more difficult because you know it's coming. And are you prepared? Did you get prepared?
Yeah. I mean, I do see your point, but I'm thinking from my perspective, and I'm sure maybe because me and Johnny are artists, I would kind of like to know what I was getting into, and I would prepare. Like, I would practice and train and show up, like, hey, man, I've been doing this shit for 2 years before I got here. I'm ready. I don't know, but I can see.
Well, I'd be the opposite because I'd overthink everything too much.
Yeah, but that's what we do.
I would overdo that. Would so stress me out.
I could see you, hitting Bryan up. Hey, give me a hint. Like what? Like, all right, dude. Like, how long do you have to be able to hold your breath? Yeah. Like, just tell me that. That's all I want to know. That's all I want. That's all I want to know. I just want to know how long do I have to hold my breath. It's like, I'm not going to tell you, Johnny. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I kept asking, but he refused to give me answers.
Wow.
But it was good. It was good in the end.
But did he ever say to you why he withheld? Was he worried, kind of like my dad talked me out of it because my dad kept going, you can't talk back, and they'll put you in the brig. So my dad just kind of kept that in my head, and I remember going, oh, well, maybe I won't join then.
Yeah.
Because I'm either not going to get through basic training, or I'm going to end up in the brig, or I'm going to. So do you think if he had told you this is what happens, and then you end up, and you got to do this, and you got to you got to swim, would that have, or you were just like, screw it, I'm going to be a frogman?
That was my thought process. I had nothing else. I had left everything. I knew I was all in. I didn't have plan B. There was no like, well, if I don't make it, I can do this. I can be a welder in the Navy. No, I was actually too stupid to be a Navy SEAL. I had to get a waiver on the ASVAB test, the Armed Services Vocation. Yeah. I took the test. They're like, yeah, you're too stupid. I'm like, oh, I'm too stupid to be a grunt.
I've been partying since I was 9. What do you expect from me?
So wait a minute. So how did you get past that?
Okay, and this is where I'm telling you, I was trying to explain to you that I knew more than most people just because I'd been around my uncle.
Okay.
And I had been around his friends. And I'll tell you a funny story about one of the convincing arguments that made me want to be around people that are Navy SEALs. We're at my aunt and uncle's house. He's got a couple of his buddies over. And my cousin, my aunt and uncle's daughter, was handicapped. Ginger, mentally retarded.
Okay.
Or mentally handicapped, I guess is the correct term.
Yeah. Well, you're a Navy SEAL. You can say it.
Well, no, I don't want to offend people. People get offended by that.
At that time, remember everybody, at that time, that is how things were.
But she was mentally handicapped, right?
Yeah.
So one of his buddies is on the floor in the, coloring.
Yeah.
And my aunt's like, oh, that's really cute. You have kids. That's great. No, the guy's not coloring. He's flipping pages and he's drawing cock and balls on all the characters in the coloring book for my mentally handicapped cousin to color. Now, I know it's warped, but I'm like, there's something about that thought process that I was attracted to. And not like that, but it was just, it was so bizarre that I'm like, well, this is left field shit. And my aunt freaks out. And, strong woman raising kids and, her husband is around the world all the time. So they have to be strong women. She kicks this guy's ass out of the house. Like, you're gone, man. Like, but
the
guy's on the coloring, like bunny rabbits and pigs with
I like cock and ball. Well, let me full disclosure though.
But there was something about that.
Just that because we talk about
moments.
Defining
weird.
moments.
That's weird.
Defining moments.
Weird, but
right.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, Brian. Full disclosure, me and Johnny have talked about this, and I've had conversations with other Navy SEALs and people who are related to. You guys are a little different, man.
No, we are absolutely.
Yeah, you guys are a little crazy.
Got to be
in a good way, though.
Well, yeah, and some are in a good way, some
Yeah.
aren't. Most Navy SEALs across the board are absolutely just normal, typical people.
Yes.
9 to 5. But when it's time to flip the switch, there's just something in your psyche that
allows you to do what
you
do.
will not get hurt.
Yeah.
We will not get hurt together.
Yes.
You know. And so you will do anything for the guys on your left and your right. It's more about them than yourself. Always is.
Okay, so did you finish high school?
I did.
You did. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Barely.
okay, that's why I asked. You. That's why. So you went into the you enlisted into the Navy.
Yep.
Were you 17? Did you have to have your uncle and or your mom or anybody?
My mother signed it. Yeah.
Okay, so you were ready to go at 17.
I went to the recruiter's office at 16, and they said you gotta be here on your 17th birthday.
Oh man, they loved you.
Yeah.
Huh?
And so
you went in at 16, dude.
No, they wouldn't let me go.
No,
in.
no.
But I tried.
But you went.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
So
Talking about being institutionalized as a child.
Yeah.
Poster boy, right here.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
So what? So you go. Where did you end up when you went? You were living in San Diego when you enlisted. And where was boot camp?
San Diego. Yeah.
They didn't send you anywhere else?
So here's what happened. My junior year.
Because you're just joining the Navy
Yes.
at the time. It's
Yes.
just Navy. It's no Navy SEAls at that moment. You're only going into
To the
basic,
Navy.
Yeah.
just
That's
to the
right.
Navy
Yeah.
basic
Yeah.
training.
Oh, yeah. Undesignated.
Ruben, listen,
If you-
I need to ask as much and as many. If you don't mind, you're making me feel like I can't pass the ASVAB. Whatever.
No, I'm listening to what you're saying. Relax, brother.
I just.
Are you guys married?
Dude, it's
argue like an old married couple.
I just
It's
love how this
ridiculous.
guy
It's good,
is rolling his eyes, huffing and puffing.
I'm not
All
doing
right.
any. I'm just listening to the interview.
I want to make sure everybody gets, you know what I mean? I want the full picture because this is stuff that we have not even had a chance to discuss. You know what I mean? So,
You want me to step out?
all right.
Let's just do the fucking interview, dude.
Okay. You know, the only seal you know is the singer. Okay.
Okay, all right.
There's a
All
singer.
right.
There's a SEAL that's a singer.
Yeah.
Who?
Seal.
Seal.
He just
Oh,
goes by
Seal.
Seal.
The singer.
Oh, that guy.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So you go to yes.
Yes.
You go to you go right there to boot camp, which is at that time is 8 weeks, 6. What's boot camp when you go into the Navy? What was it?
8, 10 weeks?
It's 8 to 10 weeks, right? It's still about that,
Yeah.
not it? Okay.
Yeah.
So
hang on. Let's
yeah.
back up.
Okay. Whatever.
Junior year of high school, I kind of set the path for the rest of my life. Not knowing it, but I did. And I knew I was going in the Navy, so I went back to Modesto, California, and rented a 3-bedroom house. Lied about my age, got a job at a restaurant, was serving tables at night and going to high school during the day. Because I didn't want to necessarily live with my mom, but I knew it was the last time I'd ever be around my mom. And I loved my mom. I still love my mom.
Yes.
But I just knew there was a pulling to get back to her. So I went back to her for a year and left Modesto and went to boot camp in San Diego.
Gotcha.
Okay. So that was like 1 year. About a year.
Just my senior year of high school in Modesto.
Okay, so you went back to Modesto High or whatever.
Yeah. Graduated high school, waited a couple of months because I knew I'd fail the drug test if I didn't clean my system out.
Dude, this is so great. It's like, you're not smart enough. You're not clean enough. I mean, and then you end up with 29 years of, okay. So this is what's amazing to me. You know what I mean? Like, it just goes to show you, man, like you had this mindset of, it just kind of reminds it's an interesting sort of like as stand up as comics.
Yeah.
We all kind of had this thing like no
Plan B.
plan B.
Yeah.
We're going to commit to this. And it's so interesting that your mentality was like, I know what I'm doing. Even at 16, 17, man. So
yeah, but if it would have turned south, I honestly had no plans. I had no idea.
And I think
I'd probably be in prison.
And I think that's what leads you to be successful, because I know there's always this debate when people are trying to figure out what they want to do for their lives, that they want to. When people are looking to see what they want to do for their lives, like your parents or whatever, like, what's your plan B? What are you going to do if this doesn't work out? But the ones that tend to be the most successful, whether they're comics, actors, or lawyers, or Navy SEALs, and they end up doing it at the highest level because there is no plan B. You're fully committed to that process. Now, going back to Modesto for that 1 year, was it gratifying for you? Like you said, you just kind of wanted to be there. Did it give you some type of closure with your mom when you went back for that 1 year?
I don't know. I don't know if it was closure. It was just letting her know that I was going to be okay.
Got it.
I didn't want to close any books.
Yeah.
But I needed to reassure her that, excuse me, I was going to be okay. And none of this was conscious thought of a 17-year-old punk kid walking the streets of Modesto, California.
Yeah.
Upon reflection and looking back on my life, why did you do those things? Because I'm curious. You know, like comics, obviously, you want to know things, and you want to, especially about yourself. And you know, I've luckily and fortunately through my life, I've been blessed with, you know, multiple opportunities that I never want to take for granted. And I always want to know why. You know, my motto to my kids has always been, you get what you earn. I have false teeth because I earned them all. It's because I didn't know when to shut up. You know? I didn't know when to shut up. You know? I've got broken hands, you know, because I didn't know when to shut up. But I've got a beautiful wife, beautiful kids, and a beautiful life because I earned it.
Absolutely.
You know? And so I honestly believe, good, bad, or indifferent, you get what you earn.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been my motto for many, many years now. But
now, are any of your kids interested in following your footsteps?
First of all, not only was that quick, but the laugh was first. Yeah, because were you well, let's stay on this. Just remind me that I want to get to that transition from after boot camp to when you decide you want to become a SEAL. Okay, but with the kids, growing up, because you hear stories of lifers, military lifer, and their kids are like, yeah, we grew up with that around our house. You know, it's like, but you didn't have to move around. It's not like Army brats where you were going everywhere, right? You didn't. Your family.
I had to move one time, and they sent me to hell, right to Hawaii.
That's right.
Wow.
That's
Hawaii.
Honolulu, right? Honolulu.
Yeah.
Is where
you know, the Arizona Memorial, that little island it's attached to Pearl
Harbor.
No, what is it? Ford Island is the island that the Arizona was on when it was bombed. I worked on that island in Hawaii.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I had to take a ferry to work, which was actually kind of
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. You had 17 minutes is how long it took the ferry. Drink your coffee, read your paper, you know.
And how long were you there?
3.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from Hawaii?
Back to San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did.
So you lived in some nice places.
No. Yeah, dude. So your kids, it's not like they had to keep moving around and getting.
No.
So you finished boot camp in the Navy, right? You finished boot camp. Do you go for another year or two before you say, "Hey, I want to be"? Or is it when was the opportunity? When did they give you the opportunity to become a SEAL?
The third so things have changed now.
Okay, but
kids nowadays are coming in under contract to be a Navy SEAL. But that wasn't an option.
When did that start?
Right around 9/11.
Okay.
Yeah, when the push for Special Forces was like, we need more of these kind of guys, not just Navy SEALs, but all that stuff.
Yeah, right.
Third or fourth day of boot camp, they roll out the special programs: Navy SEAL, EOD, diver.
And what's EOD, if you don't mind me asking?
Bomb disposal.
Okay.
Explosive ordnance disposal. So bomb techs.
Yeah.
Navy divers. There's a couple others in there, but you have to have a high enough ASVAB score, which I had gotten. What I had to do is I had to take a math test and prove competency that I could do basic math. That's what I needed to do.
Okay.
I just didn't take the test serious. I was smart enough.
Yeah.
So third or fourth day, they call everybody out, and they're like, okay, who wants in these special programs? And like 15 of us left the company for the day. And as we started going through the mental and physical exams that we had to do in the interviews with, you know, if you're going to be a diver, you're with divers. If you're a SEAL, you're with SEALs. If you're going to be, you know, a bomb guy, you're with the bomb guys. Mm-hmm. So you take a physical test, they interview you, and people just kept falling out and fading away, and I was the only one to return. Came back, and my company commander's like, you did it. And I'm like, okay, great. Now what? He goes, you got to finish boot camp. I'm like, yeah, roger that. I got it. Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And
wow.
And then from boot camp, I tried to find the shortest trade school I could in the Navy, which was considered fireman apprenticeship training. They taught me how to put out fires on a ship and rebuild globe valves, which are all over Navy ships.
The heck is a globe valve?
It's a valve of some sort. I had to rebuild it one time.
One time?
35 years ago. I don't even know. And then waited and classed up. And so I took the shortest, quickest route that I could. Nowadays, there's contracts involved and money involved, and it's they're shopping these kids. They're actively recruiting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's almost kind of similar to, I hate to make this example, but the way it is with sports, where the kids,
they're getting recruited.
They're recruited early now. And
Navy recruiters are going to Red Bull events recruiting for Navy SEALs.
Wow.
They're going to Olympic tryouts recruiting for Navy SEALs. Water polo players, wrestlers.
So what are
Red Bull athletes?
In your opinion, like they're going to these, looking for Olympians, Red Bull events. What's that characteristic that they're looking for, do you think?
I think if they figured it out, they would just target it. But I think they have to have to cast a wide net. It's something internal that makes guys successful getting through training. Not only through training, but then do you have the mental capacity to handle the job? Yeah. And they're still trying to figure that part of it out.
So let me ask you this. So you said something earlier about it's about the guys next to you. It's never about yourself. If there was one characteristic that you think all SEALs or Special Forces personnel have in common, what's that thing that you think bonds all of you guys that makes you want to do the job that you do?
The one unique thing about Navy SEALs compared to every other Special Forces in the world is Navy SEALs, irregardless of rank, structure, social status, all go through the exact same training.
Wow.
From day one to the very end. It's the exact pipeline. And it's a very difficult pipeline. As you know, Discovery Channel and all those.
Yeah, I've watched G.I. Jane, man. I know.
No, man, I wish he was in my class.
What do you think about movies like that when you see it? Is it, how accurate are they?
No, this guy. No.
Did you ever see G.I. Jane?
G.I. Jane was way out.
I know, wasn't it?
They've gotten closer, but I don't know. I mean, you got to make it dramatic for TV.
I guess, yeah. Sometimes you're watching this going, no, they didn't.
So for the people that, because I remember I did that tour. You took me to that tour of the base.
Yeah.
And so what? And give the numbers. It's how is it 100 that start the is it around 100 or 200?
What, start a class?
That are I don't even know how to word it right. That are trying to become a SEAL. Isn't there a couple hundred and only what?
Usually about they usually put about 1,500 through the front door.
Are you 1,500
a year?
Oh, a year. Okay.
About
a class of 1,500.
No. Whoa. Annually. So
guys in wheelchairs.
There's five classes a year.
Okay.
250-ish.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Go in the front door and about 50 come out the back door.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's an attrition rate of about 80%.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
Well, obviously you guys initially met through doing those shows, correct?
Correct.
And one thing, Johnny had referred me, and I got to do a couple of the shows for you guys also for some of the SEAL teams.
Oh, cool.
Is just how many SEALs they are. Like, I guess growing up when you see in the movies, you think it's like this elite force of just 30 guys total. But there are a lot of guys who dedicate themselves and become like these special force guys that are, at the top of. I don't want to put anybody else down, but you guys are like the elite of your brand.
The special forces, right? Yeah. I mean,
well, let me just say, let me keep it 100. You guys are better than all the other Navy guys, right? You're just better.
I don't want to necessarily endorse that because I love the Navy guys too.
Hey, no offense, but he's a Navy SEAL, so don't hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are held to a higher standard.
Yeah, than the open micer Navy SEAL, Navy guys.
Yes.
Yeah. Look at Chris laughing.
Oh, you couldn't put Bryan on there? You had to put Master Chief?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. You can. No, that's fine.
That's just.
That was in the bio.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, I wrote Bryan. Bryan was in there.
No. I'm just giving you shit back there.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Because he should have put.
Because that's what I used to be. I'm not that anymore.
Yeah.
I've
come on, Chris.
Tried to not be that, but it's no offense and it's fine. It's absolutely fine. You don't have to change it.
Right. It's interesting that you say that. So, as comics, a lot of times there's a thing like some comics that are always on, like even when they're on and off stage, like you referenced earlier that there's a switch when it's time. So it's interesting you're saying you're not that anymore because you've served this country. That was a part of your important part of your life at one point, and now that's not you anymore. Kind of explain what you mean by that.
I'm 54, and at some point in your life, I don't know when it happens, 30s, 40s, or 50s. For me, it happened, post 9/11 when I started burying guys. We started losing guys and going to a lot of funerals. Yeah. You start thinking, fuck, man, is that me? Am I next?
Yeah.
How are people going to remember me? And so that pointed question I asked myself, it's like, mediocre Navy SEAL, right? Okay, well, I can handle mediocrity in such a, elite unit. But I don't just want that.
Yeah.
I want it. So I thought about what will be on my gravestone when I'm buried. And I wanted to say something about being a Navy SEAL. It can say fantastic or it can say, 99 out of 100. He was right there, man. Right there,
Yeah.
But something about being a Navy SEAL, I wanted to talk about me being a father, a family man. And I want something else that is mine.
Yeah.
And I'm on that path right now, doing business.
Awesome. Okay.
So I want, I just don't want to be a one-sided, guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to live the rest of my life where people are going, hey, Master Chief, how's it going?
Yeah.
Which is fine. Guys I served with, guys that are in today, every time I drive through the gate to go on base, to get a six-pack of beer or whatever, they're, hey, welcome aboard, Master Chief. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But out and around town, it's not me anymore.
Yeah.
What's up, bro? Hey. Yeah, I'm in, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just want everybody to understand too. I'm sorry. We'll be jumping. You know how we jump around anyway. Yeah. So the process is for the people who have not seen a documentary, and let's not even include any of the movies. Mm-hmm. How many days is it to from when you start the man? I'm losing my.
When you start the
training. I'm blanking today.
When you start the training.
The training, to become. Yeah. How many days is it?
Buds.
Yeah,
Buds. Yeah.
Okay.
You were there.
Yeah, I know. I'm spacing on a lot of stuff. Okay, but how many days is it? How many days do you guys go through? How many days? From when?
6 months. 6 months.
It's 6 months.
It was.
I knew it.
It's actually closer to 2 years now.
Really?
When I went through.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, I know it was a long time. I didn't realize.
I don't know why I was thinking it was
like. I
want
to say
like
right now. So I say 2 years. I think right now they're at like 18 or 19 months.
So,
but it's a completely different.
That's what I was going to ask.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Is it? Were they were putting everything back when you did it? They were cramming everything in 6 months as opposed to now. It sounds like it's
no. What they've done is they've sophisticated the program. When I went through. You went through boot camp, which was every Navy guy has to do, and then you report to BUDS training. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks of pre-training and followed by 5.5 months of actual training.
Yeah.
That block today is called selection. essentially.
Okay.
And it's first phase, second phase, third phase. First phase is where they really hammer. This is what all the documentaries about. Hell Week, drown proofing. That's where they're trying to weed out the guys that they don't think can physically or mentally make it. And they do a really good job. By the fifth week, Hell Week, they've the class has gone from 250 down to like
right, and it's the ringing of
80.
it's the ringing of the bell, right? You have to ring that bell. Do they still do the bell?
Oh, yeah.
I remember because I took some pictures next to that bell, and I just remember you saying like everybody's
it's a cool tradition. Yeah, it's a super
it's
cool tradition.
holding out, and then once one guy rings that bell, I remember you saying. It sort of started. It speeds up,
dude. It sounds like a phone sometimes. Yeah, the kids. So I was fortunate enough to be an instructor and work a couple of Hell Weeks, which was first off. Now I'm 26, 27 years old. I've been in the Navy 8 so years, and I'm working a Hell Week, and I'm impressed. I'm like, this shit's really hard.
And you had already done it.
Hard. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, man, this sucks. Sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Exactly.
We got a schedule to keep. Guess what you're doing next? In the surf.
So
Lay down, get cold.
So Johnny, when he showed you the bell, where were you guys?
in the
What base?
San Diego.
Oh, you're in San Diego.
San Diego
Okay.
base, yeah.
Okay.
In that courtyard.
Because I know you did
Bud's
Hawaii
compound.
also,
Yeah,
right?
Bud's
I did do
compound.
Hawaii, and,
Yeah.
and thankfully there was one black guy there that saved my set.
Hilarious. Well, I had one guy.
I was having a
probably
rough
the same
time.
guy that was.
I was having a rough set, dude, in Honolulu because they set it up. I started doing
Outdoors.
shows for the SEALs, and then it just progressed. I think I was one of the first comics to do shows. I don't know about the East Coast SEALs, but I know on West Coast they hadn't had any comedy before, and I believe I was told that I was the first.
Oh,
comedy.
you were?
Yeah, okay.
No, you totally were.
And then I brought Ruben on board, and then I brought some of the guys from the
remember, yeah.
The
That never
GIs,
got asked back.
Huh?
That never got asked back.
Stop it. The GIs, whatever.
Whatever.
But anyway, so when you took me there, that was that courtyard. Is that what you asked me a second ago?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
where
in that
was it?
It's
courtyard.
called the Bud's compound.
The Bud's compound.
And what does BUD
Yeah,
stand
I
for?
was just
Basic Underwater Demolition / SEAL.
Got it.
There are no more underwater demolition teams. That's a legacy thing. They went away in '83, I think. They decommissioned them all. Now they're all SEAL teams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
But I was just curious about Hell Week, and that's 5 days, right? No sleep, right? 5 days?
No, they give you sleep, but it's
they do.
planned, and it's part of the torture, actually.
Okay.
So it's
because
it's finite. They don't go, hey, see you tomorrow. No, man. They make it really difficult for you. So a PT
explain
podium.
Explain that.
Yeah,
I
PT podium, you have an instructor up on a podium that's probably 5 times the size of this table.
Okay.
5 that way and a couple this way. And that's where they do PT. And one of the drills they did with my class was if you can get the entire class under that podium, we'll let you sleep for an hour. We got under that podium. It was that far off the ground, but we got under it. Wow. We lifted it. And the worst thing you can do is sleep.
Yeah.
Your body starts to heal. All your aches and pains come in. Your head starts to pound. All your cuts start to burn. And then an hour later, they wake you up and throw you in the salt water.
How do they wake you guys up?
Oh, dude.
I know it varies.
They don't walk up and go,
Are they shooting off machine guns and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man.
What?
Yeah, they'll throw out grenade simulators.
Watch G.I. Jane!
I'm not gonna watch the movie.
Dude, you gotta watch the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
You got to do it. It's so ridiculous.
You just said it's so ridiculous.
It is,
worst.
but it's entertaining because you're looking at it going, all right.
Okay,
that's why you got to watch it because I know you'll call me like, dude, come on, man.
I know. It's
Yeah,
like
they're
Rocky
funny.
movies. It's
Yeah.
like a Rocky movie.
You
okay.
remember the line when Demi Moore's character, whatever it was, she looks at
Jane?
what was Vizio, the dude? He was a Master Chief.
Yes, Master
Like,
Chief.
like I was.
Yes.
And she looks at him and she goes, suck my dick, Master Chief.
That was like
you
the
gotta watch it just for
that was like
line.
the profound,
You gotta watch it
like,
just for
like,
that line.
like, you know what I mean? You know those moments where it's
the
like,
worst.
it's the
Yeah.
worst, dude. you gotta
You'll
watch
be entertained.
it. Yeah.
Will I? I mean, I do love
You
Demi
will.
Moore.
Yeah. I mean, you know, as comics, how we're entertained. We're watching some like, sometimes something
Yeah.
is so bad that it's so entertaining.
Yeah. Okay.
She does pull-ups. Legit dead hang pull-ups with nothing but a wife beater on. Totally worth watching.
Okay. And thank you, by the way, for the dead hang on the pull-ups. I see people posting their. Don't get me started on push-ups.
Don't get Johnny.
Don't
started
even
on-
get me started on you
How about
half-ass
jump roping?
push-ups.
How about jump roping too? Johnny gets annoyed by everything.
Dude, first of all, the
He's
push-ups.
mad right now.
I know. I just because I saw somebody
Mad at
post.
what? What are you mad at?
Because they're not even.
gets mad.
Dude, let me tell you
He just-
why.
that's Johnny's thing.
Let me tell you why. Because they're not even doing real.
Is this the
full
Portuguese in you coming out?
No, I think this is the Mexican.
Oh,
this
okay.
is my Mexican part.
That is his Mexican side.
Man, dude, they're push-ups. They're like you said, dead hang on the pull-ups, right?
Yeah.
That all the way down. Not these. Same thing with the push-ups. These guys are like they're halfway. Their head is facing the ground, not up forward. Yeah. They don't even get close. Their chest doesn't even get near the ground. And these guys are posting 50 push-ups today. No, dude, you did like 50 spider push-ups, bro. Like this is all you're doing, dude. So thank you for the real pull-up, by the way. The real pull-up. All right, everybody. And not these either. Not the curl pull-ups.
Those are chin-ups. There's a difference.
I never realized that they
They
work
work
different between
they
the two.
work
I never thought
different
about
body
that.
parts too.
I never realized that was that's considered a chin up.
Pull up.
Never knew that.
So Johnny,
Rabbit hole.
yeah. So Johnny connected me to perform.
Oh yeah, we didn't get over Honolulu. We'll get back to the Honolulu gig.
Yes.
I gotta say about that one. Okay.
And just so you might not know this, but probably through talking with Johnny, like these gigs for us are like corporate gigs. And they're not easy gigs to do because there's so many restrictions of things you can and can't do, et cetera.
Yeah,
You probably didn't even know that. But I remember doing two different shows, one before deployment for all the families and everything,
yeah.
and then one on the return. And the deployment one was one of the best shows. That both of them were great. But when they returned, man, that show was heavy because it was one of the first times they had lost a SEAL upon the return, and no one said anything. You know, I was just performing, and then they do this big tribute
To a dude.
Yeah. And then it's like, are you ready for some comedy? I said, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I remember going out there, and it was, people were emotional. And it was rough. It was rough like the first couple of minutes. And then I just looked to the right, and I told Johnny this story, and this is what's great about comedy and how just things happen to save you. I just glanced at a guy who's sitting there. He looked like he's maybe like Johnny's age, 5'3", 5'4".
Johnny's age?
I mean Johnny's height. Sorry.
Oh,
5'3".
really?
What are you? 5'5"? 5'5". I was Cinco de Mayo. That's right.
But a vicious 5'5". Don't forget that. There's a difference.
He is vicious.
Double nickel.
So
Double nickel.
he just happened to be, I think he was a sergeant. And when I started making fun of him, man, the place exploded. And then afterwards, they're like, man, we can't stand that guy. I'm glad you guys, you got on him. And it ended up being fun. But one thing that I noticed about the SEALs that I talked to Johnny about, most, everyone's dressed up in nice evening gowns, and all the SEALs have on flip-flops.
Of course. Yeah, go figure.
And that is because you guys are in boots all the time. You're like, you don't want to wear shoes.
Oh, trust me, that was not planned. And the higher ups were going, what the
I know.
They were doing that, as some kind of a, hey.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like, everyone is like black ties and everything. John Voight is there, and then the SEALs are walking around with flip-flops on. That's how you could tell.
Do you know what team that was? Do you remember?
Oh, we did it at the Disneyland Hotel.
Oh, okay.
See, when they booked us,
because there's even odd numbers.
Odd numbers on the West Coast. So I feel like I was a part. I know I did one SEAL Team 1 because that was Honolulu, but 3, 5, 3 and 5,
1357.
1357, right? I don't know if I did 7. I know I did 1, 3, and 5.
I should have looked up the emails. I could tell.
Yeah,
but it was at Disneyland. We did it at Disneyland.
Well, they would. Yeah, it was usually banquet. Yeah,
I might have been there on that.
Now the Honolulu one, dude, was here's what happened.
This is hilarious.
We get to there. It's an outdoor picnic. It's a daytime picnic. So all the guys are there with their families and the kids, and and they're spread out. And then they had the show. There was a band, and there was that one dude that they kept hiring because he was a country guy, and he wrote like a military.
Yes, he performed on my show too.
Correct.
Yeah.
It went viral, this song that this guy had written. Yeah. So, because I remember I'd see him, I'm like, hey, we're working again. And for some reason, they put us in this sort of warehouse. It was one of the, where the door goes like that. So we're in there, and then I'm like, are we going to get everybody up here? Because they're all on the
barbecuing.
grass. But they're seriously, they're grilling. Some of them are on blankets and I'm like, hey, we got to get the people. It's okay, music. If you play music and there's a gap.
Can I pause 1 second?
Yeah.
One thing you need to know about Johnny when it comes to doing shows, he's one of the most meticulous guys when it comes. Like, he doesn't even like doing bar shows.
Because I did a lot of them. I started in bars.
So when it comes to shows, like, there's running jokes. Johnny will measure the stage, check all the lighting. Like, it's all these running jokes. So for Johnny to show up to a show that is not the norm,
conducive for
comedy, he was going nuts.
I was losing my mind.
But see, when you started,
that was the big bank. We did a banquet hall, the very first one, which was fantastic.
And I was on that. My boss at the time was Alex Krongard.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you had all of these series of questions, that, Alex and I were there when you were talking to, excuse me, whoever you were talking to. But what was most impressive about that to Alex was your attention to detail, And then you got on stage, and I think that was a show where we had the dude named Sue and the girl named Michael.
Yes.
Mitchell or something.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. And he was like a 5'5" Navy SEAL, Vietnamese guy, right? Or Thai.
Thai, yeah.
And his wife was like 6 foot.
That's the guy I made fun of.
Oh, maybe it was.
That's
it
the
you?
guy? Yes.
Was that you?
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. That was you.
No, that was me with the short guy, and then his wife
Asian
was real
dude.
tall. Yes.
Yeah.
That was the one where they had just lost somebody on that trip, and then the guy.
That sounds so familiar to me.
Yeah, because I told you that story. It was
Oh,
I
is
was
that-
like struggling, and I looked to the, and that's. I'm sorry, but
No.
they were coming to me. It was like,
Yeah,
"Man, he's a
yeah.
dick." Yeah, but his wife was real tall, and I go, wait a minute,
Yes.
that's
was
your
you.
wife?
Okay,
Yeah, and she was real.
They
like,
were
she was-
right in the front.
They were
like,
right,
right
on the
on your.
side. Yeah, right to my right.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe
She
it
was
was
like
you
6 foot,
Yes.
dude. Remember? And he was how
Yeah.
tall was he?
He's like 5'5".
Yeah, I told you, dude. It was dude. It was like a gift from heaven. And I glanced down and go. I asked him.
I see. This is the same guy that you were
yeah.
explaining earlier.
Yeah,
okay,
that's the guy
get you.
that I was
Okay,
explaining
okay,
earlier.
okay.
Like I was like, dude, because
Yeah.
it was really heavy before I came out. And then I was doing my material, and I was getting, and everybody's walking around, getting drinks and everything.
in the back.
When things are distracting when you're performing, you got to blow through it. And the guy that went on before me was the SEAL that was on Survivor. He was there. Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy just died. 91 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, I just saw that, man.
91 though, man. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
He was great. So what was the guy's name that I made fun of?
His name was like Soup and something. It was a long Vietnamese name.
Vietnamese, and
his wife's name was
tall,
Mike, right?
tall white girl.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she went by like Mike or something.
Yeah,
She was like Irish or something crazy.
Dude.
Well, okay.
But you slayed it, dude.
I
You
slayed.
hammered him.
Man, I hammered him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it saved the show, man. Like they
Well,
were going nuts. They
yeah.
ended up taking me out after
That I
My-
want to say that was.
Was that at Disneyland or was that in Orange County? I did one in one real
I did a
nice
couple.
hotel.
The two I did were in San Diego, or 2 or 3 I did were in San
the
Diego.
first one you did was in San Diego?
Yeah.
I remember.
Now I remember what happened on my very first one. It was Kent.
Yes.
His wife.
Yeah,
Something happened with because the material was going okay, but it wasn't like I was slaying.
Yeah.
And then she said something, or I can't remember. And then I got on
Either one, man. That
Yeah.
could come from either one of them.
Yes, yes. And I remember that's heavy. But the one in Honolulu was some of them came up for it, dude. And I mean, man, I bet I was like dripping sweat, dude.
I talked to Johnny. I go, how was it? Rube. I mean, it was out.
Yeah.
Why are they even doing comedy? It's outdoors. No one's paying attention. People are barbecuing in the back. People playing volleyball. I'm like, what?
So they never came up.
They
Some.
a
Yeah, some.
little bit. And I'll tell you though, it wasn't. I'm doing, and I'm just kind of. You can feel it, man. It's kind of like this is not going that well. And then I see one black dude, one brother, and I went, "Oh man, we got one black." And of course, all the white dudes just start laughing their ass off. And then I was like, "Oh, sorry, man.
Yeah,
but
you're my show now.
You're my show, dude." So I went off of him, and this is some black material, and it was. You almost feel ashamed and bad of yourself as a comic sometimes when you not you, but what I felt it was because he was. I just had to. I had to continue with him, man, and it saved the show, man. Like if it wasn't for him,
and I understand what you're saying. By you feel bad because you feel like you're there to do your routine, but at the end of the day, you're there to make these guys laugh and entertain.
I know.
And they aren't the easiest.
They are. Oh, that's the other thing.
The easiest group of guys to make
we've
laugh.
done so many different shows, whether it was Army, Navy, but I thought the Marines, because we used to do shows at Camp Pendleton and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I always was like, the Marines are the toughest. But man, dude, we exchanged notes. We were like, man, I don't know if it's a
What making them laugh?
Yes, we felt like the women were fine. The women, but the men, the SEALs, they were. It seems like is it just the way you guys are? I mean, because you're a laughing, fun kind of guy, but it seemed like it was. Do they not want to laugh a lot in front of each other? That's ridiculous.
No,
right?
no.
Oh, okay.
SEALs are like. The best of times and the worst of times, they are absolutely just laughing because you're frightened, scared, whatever it is on the battlefield, and you're making jokes.
Yeah.
And then you're doing administrative shit, and you're making jokes.
Yeah.
I think what the dynamic you were probably experiencing is these guys just came off the battlefield, and they stopped, did a little decompression.
That's right. They got that
country.
decompression.
Yes.
Yeah. Germany a lot of the times.
Germany
right?
a lot of times. Yeah. 3 days there. They have to see. They have to be in a room with a psychologist for 15 minutes. Doesn't mean they have to talk.
Yeah.
But they got to be there. And they, and then there's chaplains there, and there's all these resources. So we try to decompress them a little bit there. But then a new stress hits when they get back home, especially for ones that are in relationships, because it's been all about me, as the guy on deployment for the last, 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
And the wife, it's been all about her and the house, and
the kids,
she's been running it. And now we got to go from me to we, and now it's your making me laugh.
Question for you.
She's killing me.
Yeah. I never thought you were right.
So they're in a really bizarre headspace. But I'll tell you, I think having you guys there was therapeutic in a way that just
Normalcy.
Luckily you weren't familiar. You weren't like, hey, this happened and let's laugh about it. It was, One Star making fun of Sue. That shit. That completely something different. But when it hits, I think it hits well.
Yeah, man.
It's just getting there. And I feel for you, man.
And I remember Jim Brown was there, and he was in the front going.
I was at that one.
Yeah. He was in the front. And finally, I made him laugh. He goes.
Yeah.
Wait, Jim Brown?
Jim Brown.
Yeah.
Cleveland Brown, the Hall of Famer was there.
Man, I give you
but he was asleep.
He was asleep, brother. You did give me good.
Dang, man. He was asleep, though, for like first half hour.
I know. But I made him laugh. But I remember, because all these things, people are walking around. I'm doing jokes. People are walking around like Jim Brown hates me. And I'm looking.
Yeah.
And whatchamacallit's brother, Chris Farley's brother was there.
Yep.
You probably don't even remember that.
Hey, who's this?
Yeah. Chris Farley's brother who
he was doing
comedy.
stand up for a while.
But he didn't perform. He was just there.
Oh, he didn't do
And then John Voight was there and he smoked and got teared up. And it was just a great experience because one thing that I appreciated about you guys, and Johnny has said the same thing, is the appreciation you guys did have for us performing there. Because after the show, when you're doing like the meet and greet, I mean, there's a line of Navy SEALs. And John Voight was in the line waiting to tell me thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Which just, because we're so grateful for what you do.
Yeah. It almost seems like
weird.
Because we're very like, we just make
like
people
what are we
laugh.
in line for?
Yeah.
Did I get in that line too?
Yeah, why are they giving away something free?
Yeah. Is this the head? You know?
Now, you said something interesting about being separate and then coming home to your spouse or your girlfriend. Now, when you were were you married during that time? And was that difficult?
Oh yeah. Been married 33 years, so pretty much my entire career.
Wow.
Yeah, 33, 86.
And your wife is watching and listening.
Yeah.
I'm sure she deserves a medal.
She's probably laughing her ass off right now. Like, oh my
She's
God.
like, hell yeah, it's hard.
He's
Hell
so
yeah,
fucking
you don't know
stupid.
Bryan.
Wait, did you know her before? No, not you. You met her after you were already in the military.
No, I met her in Modesto in front of Taco Bell on McHenry Avenue.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
See, man, Taco Bell. We had a Taco Bell in Tulare, dude. That was where everybody met each other.
She worked there, and this is another just sick, stupid story.
Yeah, no. This is what we want.
Yeah.
I rode a motorcycle at the time. Buddy of mine, I brought a buddy of mine down who lives in Ramona, California. Brought him up to Modesto. He and a friend of mine, myself and a friend of mine from Modesto are like cruising McHenry because that was kind of thing to do. And we're like, let's go to Taco Bell. Pull up to Taco Bell, and there's these girls sitting at this table over here. My buddy Keith, who lived in Modesto, went to high school in Modesto, he's like, oh, that's Fina. She's in my English class. And my buddy Juan Reese, now Fina's my wife now. At the time she wasn't. My buddy Juan Reese, who lives in Ramona, he's like, I'm fucking her tonight. And I'm like, yeah, you are. What? I'm like, yeah, you are. Here we are.
Being your wife.
Yeah, no, it's my wife. So he did not.
I know.
Say you know he didn't. It didn't happen.
Hey, Fina, he cleared that up.
She's like, really? I gotta tell this story.
Really, Bryan? Really?
Really?
Did you ever tell her he said that?
Oh yeah.
You ratted him out.
No, totally. Yeah.
Hey, he said he was gonna fuck you. Man.
But we actually became friends that night.
That's awesome.
And yeah,
because I think a lot of times, kind of what you're alluding to earlier, we kind of forget about the spouses and the children that allow you guys to do what you do and to be that support. And it has to be tough because, like you said, you're coming back from the battlefield and they've been living this normal life. And I'm sure there's like this adjustment period that you have to go through.
Dude, the tension is unreal. Because you're a Navy SEAL, you're just like a regular dude. Mm-hmm. And you're kind of alpha in character, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just how we're supposed to be as men.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then you disappear for 6 or 8 months and you come home, all the bills are paid, the kids are clean, the house looks good. I don't think there was a dude's shoes under my bed, Everything seems to be cool.
Do you check for shit like that when you come? Oh, okay.
No.
I'm just curious.
No. But everything was perfect as you would want, But then I inject myself into, no, we're not going to do it that way, And she's Dominican, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to fuck with that.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to lose that every time.
Yeah. Navy SEAL or no Navy SEAL.
But the dynamic that happens across all military are these women that are home by themselves. They're up every morning taking the kids to school. All they want to do is take a nap, and they can't. All they want to do is get a job or have a different job or go out with the girls and have a glass of wine. But when there's a family involved, it's 100% them. I saw guys downrange trying to pay their bills downrange. I'm like, bro, you can't do this.
Yeah.
You can't. You need to trust her enough to let her manage your house.
Yeah.
And if she can't handle it, maybe she's not the right one,
Yeah.
But no, those families, those women especially, man, they're tough.
Yeah. So was there ever, because I know like as comics sometimes that when you're in relationships, it's like, do you have to be out every night? Do you have to do a spot? Do you have to, you had a 29-year career? Mm-hmm. Were there points in there where she was like, hey, how much longer are you going to do this?
Yeah.
Or she was just like, you know what?
No. No. When I walked in the front door, considering, now understanding my background, when I walked in the front door, I knew I was doing it 20 years. I knew I was going to be in the Navy 20 years.
Got it.
And she knew that.
Got it.
So at about 18 and a half, 19 years, we're sitting down at dinner one night, and I'm like, well, coming up on retirement. She's like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I have no idea. She's like, well, don't get out till you figure it out. Then 9/11 happened, and it was time to go to work.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then, I got sucked into that world, and all good, some bad, but yeah. And then I actually was trying to do one more tour before I retired. Couldn't get the job I wanted. They offered me a desk job. I'm like, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah, I was kind of curious because you're so close to 30. I mean, you know how some people.
Oh,
I know
no,
yeah. But for me, I'd probably be like, I've got to get.
Oh, Johnny would have definitely.
I'm so anal about stuff that I would have been like, I got to get that 3-0.
Should have did the extra year. Yeah.
And Andrew was asking me. Andrew was like, hey, I need to. I can't do a real pull. I'll show you a real pull up, but I'll show everybody a real push up. Okay. So hopefully Darren Carter is watching. Anyway, the party starter. My dad, he's an Army veteran, and he was sent over to Korea, but it was after the Korean War. He was there 58 to 60. Not there. He did 14 months in Korea, but I grew up watching all. Mainly World War II documentaries and then let me tell you something.
That's
about
Korea.
that.
I know
Dude, that's Korea. But you know what? My sisters loved that show.
I hated it.
Dude, let me tell you something. That show. Even when I was young, I remember feeling like they were real. I believed those actors, dude. You felt like you were immersed, and that writing was unbelievable, dude. But I don't. So I fell in love with MASH because of my sisters, because the show was so good. I mean, but
the reason why I didn't like that show.
Let me guess.
For one reason.
Let me guess.
One reason.
I already know what's coming.
What is it?
No black dude in it.
No. Because every time I heard that music from MASH coming on, it was time to go to bed.
Oh.
So I never really watched that.
Wow,
that
what
show.
time were you? Didn't it come on at 8 or 9?
I don't even remember. I just know when that music comes, my father's like, Ruben, time to go to bed. I'm like, oh, shit. Turn the channel so he doesn't know.
MASH.
It was like it was his alarm clock for me to go to bed.
Do you think it was because did he not want you to watch that?
I just, whatever it was, maybe it came on at 9. I don't know what time
it
it
might have
came
been
on.
9. It might have been
But
9.
it just, every time, I just remember like being in bed, hearing the MASH music going, man, damn.
Was that the one that
So I
went,
just equated.
how did that theme song go?
Yeah. I can't.
You know, they shot that in Calabasas, by the way, right? You know that?
I think you told me that.
Yeah,
before.
we just out here.
Yeah, Calabasas. But anyway, my dad, we would sit and we'd watch, whether it was a documentary on World War II footage, a battle and Vietnam and stuff. And my dad, as tough as a guy that he was, he would always say, he'd go, I don't know how I would have done in battle. He always said that to me, and I think there's something that just you have to survive, right? I mean, I don't know if you were ever in situations where, I mean, imagine you were deployed. How many times were you deployed? Six times?
No, I did. My bio says 9, but there's 10 because I discount one. One was to Alaska.
Got to get those polar bears.
Come on, man. So
those polar bears are causing trouble.
9.
Wow,
Yeah.
9. I was thinking 6. That's unbelievable.
5 in combat.
5 in combat.
Yeah.
So there's something that just and obviously the training kicks in, and but is there? Because I feel the same way, man. I feel like there would be an element of fear of getting wounded or just being killed, man. I mean, is that anything that, or you're just in survival mode and you don't think about anything like that?
Well, you're trained. They're training.
Yeah, you're trained.
I know that, but I always wonder, even with training, are there people in our mind going, man?
But it's like us when people come up to us and like, man, how do you guys do that? And it's like, well, it's kind of what we do. Because most people have a fear of public speaking.
Correct.
Let alone getting on stage. And then they'll be talking to me and you, and we're like, well, this is what we do. We're comics.
Yeah.
So we're not afraid. We get on stage. Because people ask me, like they ask you, are you scared are you nervous? And then, sometimes Johnny will take a little wine. You drink a little wine.
I like a little wine, yeah,
to ease your nerves.
Yeah,
and
more of my anxiety than anything.
Yeah, so it's not nerves; it's more anxiety.
Yeah.
So everybody, but you're never like afraid to go on stage and perform.
Right, and I almost feel like it's worse. Speaking of like when you're younger, I mean, when I was a young stand-up, I would do comedy anywhere.
Yeah.
People's backyards, birthday parties.
Exactly.
And now just be like, I'm not doing this show, dude.
Johnny, you
got some better lighting, bro? Because I ain't doing this.
And if you ever start a comedy night, do not invite Johnny to do the first night.
I'm not going to do your first night.
Do it. Because you go, hey, Johnny, I want you to do the show, man. Like, how many shows have you done? Like, this is the first one. Call me after 2 or 3.
Yeah, because I went through so many bad first comedy nights of these, and it's like, and you know, somebody had, I mean, literally, I was at one where they had a flashlight for the spotlight, dude. And it was just in one, and it was only the light was this big on the. I go, yo, dude, come on, man, and don't walk too far away, okay? Because the cord. All right, I'm not doing these anymore. All right, no more first night. What?
I give Johnny shit. I'm about to compliment you,
I mean,
man.
come on, man.
Damn.
Let me finish, bro.
I'm about to compliment you, bro.
All right.
As annoying as Johnny is, there's no one better to have on a
tour
with, because you just know Johnny's going to make sure everything is set up. He's going to go to sound check.
I do sound checks. I do light checks.
He does light checks.
So when these other comics, we all go do. I've been a part of many tours, and then I'm there and I'm like getting a hold of everybody. Hey man, you guys go sound checks at 5:30. You guys going? Or like most of them don't even get back to me because they're sleeping.
Yeah.
Right. And I go, well, I'm going down to sound check, guys. Go down there. Thank goodness I go, because it's like, oh no, you can't do that. No, can't have this. Hey man, these colored lights. Oh, you guys don't want red, blue, green, and no, man, one hot light, white.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we need.
So
and you're welcome, comics who I've been on tour with.
Yeah. So Johnny, he does all that. No one asked him to do it, but when you show up to the gig, Johnny goes, "You're welcome. You're welcome, everyone. You think that light was set up there before I got here? No. Those chairs were 50 feet back.
That's
I
right.
told them to move it up.
That's right.
This microphone, I made them swap it out. No, okay, Johnny.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny. You're welcome. Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah,
Like,
and then you know what happens,
right.
everybody out there? Every time, then Ruben comes back from a tour that I'm not on. Guess what? Complaining though, dude, you ain't gonna believe this, man. The mic didn't work right. The cord was sketchy. The lighting, dude, Johnny, they had us with green light. They had a green. All right. Anyway, so. But anyway, we what are we gonna do?
We'll go longer because this is such a great conversation.
I know, this is fantastic.
I kind of want to get back to when you were talking about that was your career, that's who you were, and this is who you are now. That transition, and I'm not. I guess the question wouldn't be whether your life was better then than it is now. It's just different. But how gratifying is it for you to have gone through that experience and to be through on the other side now, being a dad, being a businessman, and that being so far removed from you now?
Yeah, at first it was tough. I was institutionalized as a child, essentially. Mm. And as I transitioned out, life throws curveballs that you would completely just take for granted. Like going to a job interview. How do you want to represent yourself? Do you want to put on a suit? Do you want to wear, what's appropriate? I've been told what to do my entire life.
Wow.
Now I've got, just the simplest thing, like first job interview. What do you do? Fuck, I don't know. They prepped me for it. Like, hey, your resume looks great. Come to find out, it wasn't. It sucked. Don't let the Navy write your resume. It's not good. Yeah.
That's
PSA. But no, it's the little things that become kind of constant annoyances. And then you have to figure out how to deal with people that don't think like you. Because there's only, 3,000 living Navy SEALs in the world.
Wow.
Or something like that. Maybe more living. Active, I think there's like 2,500, so there's maybe another 1,000 alive. But now you got to figure out how to deal with people that aren't like you.
Yeah.
The beauty of my position as I retired, I made rank really young. I made Master Chief, really, really young. At 17 years. 17 years into my career.
Oh, wow.
34, 35,
Oh, wow.
which is young to be at that pay grade.
Wow.
It should have been a couple of years later. But it put me in a position to assume more responsibility earlier on and then lead at higher levels so as I was leaving, post 9/11, 9/11 happened, 20 years into my career essentially. And I was leading into combat and dealing with combat wounds, some visible, some invisible, from head to, guys losing extremities, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
That makes you start thinking about things in a different way. And so I ended up seeing, a psychologist, sitting down going, man.
Yeah, you have to.
Because how do I talk to my guys and say, bro, you need help? If I don't know the doc they're going to see, and we had some great docs, but man, the first two I dealt with were morons. We called them doctor, but dude, they did not have the temperament to be around an elite unit. And when guys would talk to them, they just didn't get it. Yeah. And finally we found, the first guy we found was this pastor. God, what was his name? Black, tall, skinny guy. Would have been at your first couple of events. Pastor. Anyway, so we found him, and he helped us with the shrink, the psychologist. And I ended up sitting on that guy's couch, and I found that, I honestly don't believe in all of that. I just don't think. I think if you're mentally aware, self-aware and mentally mature, and intellectually curious, you can navigate through a lot of your own problems. But we do need someone to sit down and go, hey, you're kind of fucking this up, bro.
Yeah, perspective.
Yeah. And, some of the best advice I got was make civilian friends. I'm like, ooh, that sounds
I don't like them. They don't think like me.
Yeah.
Pussies.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, no, but, some of my best friends now never served a day in their life.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate what they did do. One guy was a Greyhound bus driver. In fact, it's very possible he drove me from Modesto to San Diego to go to boot camp.
Wow.
He's an older guy, but just a great human being, So just that transition, and it's still ongoing.
How long have you been out now?
7 years in December. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your work, and I always just, I don't know why, I always just thought when somebody spends their life in the military and they retire, that's it. They don't work anymore.
No, you have to work.
Yeah.
Well, for a couple of reasons. One, military retirement is not that good.
God,
isn't that crazy?
That is mind-blowing to me.
A police officer or a police officer, their retirement is fantastic.
My godfather, man.
Yeah.
Like when he retired.
What? But they don't pay they don't pay the police officers very well while they're doing it.
They don't pay them bad.
They don't pay him bad, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Once you're
my godfather,
for what they're doing. Okay.
I'm talking about Fat House in Baldwin Hills, paid off, like.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
see,
I'm not trying to put his business, but my God, he did very well, and his retirement was insane. I think they've changed it a little bit because it was like they got like almost 80% of their salary.
Well, you can actually get up to 100 as a cop.
Yeah, it was. I know it was high. It could have been 90.
Insane.
Yeah, I was like, "Are you kidding?" And he had been retired for years.
Especially in
Johnny.
Los Angeles.
Yeah,
Crazy to me. I just would assume that.
Of course, because they're putting their lives on the line, and it's such a high
especially
risk.
But especially an elite,
yeah,
someone that's in an elite force, you would think these guys are going to end up like. In other words, you put in all these deployments and all this. Wow,
I actually think it's. I would love to have a better retirement. Trust me, but. I don't think it's a bad thing because when you are transitioning out, you're looking past the end of your nose. Now, I was fortunate. I spoke very highly of my wife, and this is even another feather in her cap. She kept us financially sound. We didn't live beyond our means, and so when I retired, it was like, if you don't get a full-time job, we'll still be able to keep the lights on. Yeah. In fact, we went to the point of selling our house. Wow. So we didn't even have a mortgage. So we had no financial debt at all the day I walked out of the Navy. Oh. Unusual.
Good job, wife.
Unusual. That's very hard to do for most
job.
people. Yeah. But it forces you in a direction that you have to go to continue life. A lot of guys would just end up, sitting on the bank of a pond, fishing for catfish and drink themselves to death.
I have a question for you. So
remind me about his uncle.
Okay.
I got one last question.
So transitioning out, trying to figure out what you're going to do with this next phase of life. Did you just sit down and go, because like you said, you were all in from age 15 on. do you go, what the hell do I want to do with my life? Like, how did you figure out what businesses, or did your wife help with that? Like, honey, maybe we should try to do this.
Was there training that led you to what you're doing now?
And what are you doing now, if you don't mind?
Yeah. Okay. So to answer your first question, I didn't. Everybody asks, what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. And you don't know. Yeah. So I figured, let me make a list of shit I don't want to do. You know? And so that, you know, the top one on the list was I didn't want to carry a gun anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot become police officers and stuff, right?
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get out of that world. I did not want to work for DOD at all or the feds. I didn't want to work for the government at all. And so that was on my list. So that helped me kind of narrow things down. And when I retired, I actually had a great opportunity. I ended up working, doing personal protection for the founder and CEO of SpaceX and Tesla, Elon Musk.
Okay.
And I worked him for 18 months. And that kind of just networked me into that world. Now, don't want to carry a gun. Now I'm carrying a gun because I'm a billionaire's bodyguard, right? Yeah. And you're not going to do that without some way to protect yourself.
Absolutely, yeah.
But that fed me into the security world where I ended up, you know, I left Elon and ended up opening my own security firm, just me, because I networked enough to where I could keep, you know, my own lights on and pick my own clients and have my own life rhythm instead of living someone else's. And in the last 3 years, I'm pulling completely out of security and I'm doing some business development with, I'm really plugged in with one company that's doing awesome things in the medical insurance space. They're rebilling self-funded plans. And what that means is UAW, United Auto Workers Union, right?
Got it.
They're a self-funded medical plan. Some of them are, not all of them. But they will hire the company I'm working with to negotiate lower prices with care providers, hospitals and doctors, based on Medicare rates. Medicare is a national standard for any medical procedure.
Absolutely.
And in the medical world, it's the only product or service you get or need that you don't know the price when you walk in. So this company's trying to break that paradigm down. Yeah. So they're trying to right a social wrong. So that's what I'm doing now.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, not something I figured I'd ever be doing. Yeah. But it's super cool, man. I really enjoy it.
That's awesome, man.
You know?
Really...
I was brought in to be the executive coach for the president, who's at the time was 33, now he's 35. You know, it's a father-son team. 2 years ago when I started, we had 20 employees. Now we're at 50. It's growing. It's booming. This young man is doing a fantastic job running this company.
And you're enjoying it.
And I have a ball,
That's
man.
awesome, man.
Yeah. And I don't have to work that hard. Trust me.
Right.
I get paid from here up, not here down.
Yeah. That's really awesome.
Yeah, man.
And how old are your kids?
My son is 28. My daughter's 23.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, any grandchildren? No. Okay.
No, man.
Well, 28. I mean, yeah.
You actually helped me set the bar with my kids, believe it or not, just through your comedy. Because my son wears his pants around his waist. I haven't seen his name on a bridge. You know, I'm not a grandfather. He's 28 years old. He's paying his own bills. He doesn't live with grandma. He doesn't live with me. So he's killing it.
He's doing well, yeah.
But this just kind of makes me think of the way you. When you explain your family or you talk through your comedy, you know. Yeah. But yeah, and my daughter just graduated Texas A&M a year ago and is working in Laguna Hills.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and then is your son in California as well?
Yeah, he's down in San Diego.
Oh, he's down in Dude, I'm telling you, San Diego's
great.
if there's one place in California I would want to end up living, it's San Diego, man.
Really?
I love it out there, dude.
Oh, yeah. You've told me some great San Diego stories of you on the
La Jolla when I was working the comedy store.
Yeah, when you were working the comedy store. You told me one story that I love you to tell me all the time.
That happened in the
in the condo.
In the condo, yeah. The comedy
Johnny
condo.
had some great. Oh, man. If those walls could talk,
I had some fun. Who didn't have fun in that comedy condo? I mean, from Kinnison to all of us.
And they're opening a Laugh Factory in San Diego.
In San Diego, they're going to be opening a Laugh Factory in San Diego, dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
By the way, did your uncle that inspired you? Is he still alive?
Yep.
Okay. So I mean, what did he think of all this? I mean, does he knows you've obviously told him like,
Yes.
you're the reason why
Yes.
all this. That's got to feel great, man.
Yeah.
You
That's
know
awesome,
what I mean?
man.
So when I retired, I actually had a ceremony. I didn't want to have a ceremony, but I did have a ceremony. It was more for my family and for me to say thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did. I really am. One of the first people I addressed was my uncle saying, "I'm here because of you."
Yeah.
You know, and I always wanted to be you.
Yeah.
And then at some point I realized there's only one you, and I had to be the best me I could to compare.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so
just
he
think
served.
your life,
Yeah.
dude. If you had not, at 15, if you had not gone,
Yeah, I don't want to
live-
think about it.
right? Dude, I mean, it's a defining. We talk about
But
defining
defining
moments
yeah,
in
that's
life,
right, yeah.
man.
Well,
Like,
when I think about your story, just sitting here kind of reflecting of all we've talked about, like your uncle made a huge difference in your life, and looking at you, your life is about making a difference, from serving in the military to doing security to now working in the medical field, insurance medical field,
right.
trying to make a difference in people's lives, making them better. So on all aspects, you've done a great job, serving our country and just trying to make the world a better place. So thank you.
yeah.
No,
Thank
yeah.
you, man.
Very successful. In
Yeah.
like you said, there's this guy that
There's
was,
one piece missing. There's one
Oh,
piece missing.
okay.
And last month, I actually got all my final paperwork. I stood up a 501c3 foundation
Okay.
called the Restitution Project.
It's nonprofit.
We don't even have a
501c3
website yet,
is
man.
nonprofit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nonprofit.
Oh,
Yeah.
nonprofit. Well, okay.
And
okay. Thanks.
it is an organization called the Restitution Project that we're going to just say thank you to veterans who have served. We
Man.
don't know exactly what it's going to be yet,
Yeah.
but man, I just felt like, God dang, man,
Well, if you need,
I want to pay people back that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
did what I did, because I get to live the life I'm living now because of these dudes still out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever need anybody to perform, you got me and Johnny.
Yeah.
And anybody.
I've been
we
trying
know.
to get this guy. He's too high maintenance.
Oh, thank you.
Hey.
Oh my God. Thank you.
me tell you
Brian.
Oh,
Brian.
stop it, Ruben.
Oh, Brian.
Anyway.
Thank you.
Listen,
Oh,
we were no.
Man.
Let me tell you something. We were talking, going back and forth about possibly doing a Christmas show for his company, but because listen, no, wait, Rube,
Okay,
wait.
all right.
It went from he knows, because he knows comedy. He knows comedy now. He was just like, dude, it's gonna be at the banquet day, at this hotel. I was like, oh my God, that sounds great. The ballroom, the hall, whatever. And then he gets a hold of me later and he goes, hey man, they want to do it on a boat now, so you'd have to come out with us. And he goes, so that's like you 4 hours with us, but 4 or 5 hours hanging out before.
Johnny
I went, yo, wait a minute, man. Hold on. And he goes, yeah, I know, dude. That's what I told him. Like, what are you going to do that whole time? I go, oh, dude, this is what we're ready to. So, and then, but after a while, it went from hall to boat to hall to boat again or something. And then he finally goes, hey, man, just let's forget about this whole Christmas.
They're doing
game.
it at Dave and Buster's.
That's where,
Hilarious.
yeah,
Irvine Spectrum.
but it's gonna be in the. But they did get the quiet banquet, the quiet room.
I don't think so.
Oh,
I
it's
think
gonna
we're too
be
big. I think it's going to be that
Okay.
center bar area.
Well, you know
They're
what?
just gonna rope it off
You know
for
who
us.
loves Ruben loves gigs like that. With
I just know how to
video-
survive
with-
gigs like
with
that.
video games going on.
Johnny always says to me, he's like, why do you put yourself through that? And I go, it's just hard for me to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Johnny be like, man, at least get them to do X, Y, and Z. And I go, I know, you're right, dude. But sometimes it's just like, I needed the money, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
right.
like,
No,
I just
yeah,
clock
yeah.
in.
Yeah.
But I just want to,
Yeah.
say before we take off, you talked about.
Jeez, this is our longest one I think we've ever.
Holy shit.
One of the longest
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
I just want to say, you said earlier about what are people going to say about you when you're gone. And one thing my dad used to say in a heavy Haitian accent, which I won't do right now, is every day that you live, all of us, we're writing our own eulogies.
Oh, yeah.
How we treat people, how we behave. And my godfather used to say, Ruben, if all people can say about you is you're funny, you failed. You should be more than that. So you're doing a great job, man. You're writing a great eulogy, and there's more to write. And thank you for being on our show.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a
Absolutely.
pleasure.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for
brother.
our service,
thank you
man.
for
Yeah.
Ladies
keeping in
and
touch with
gentlemen,
me all this time. And
Bryan Yarbro.
yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro.
But thank you for having us. This is the best of everything. Of course, that's my brother from another mother, who's annoying, but we love him. And next Tuesday night at Ruby Tuesdays, 9:30 p.m., we got another brother from another mother. The great D.L. Hughley will be at Ruby Tuesdays next Tuesday night. So get your tickets because we ain't giving out no free tickets.
I bet you won't give me a spot on that show, huh?
No, I always put you on the good shows, man.
Okay.
But all the shows are good.
All right. They're all great. I'm kidding.
You just pick and choose which ones you want to do.
We're out already, right?
But anyway.
Oh.
That's it. That's the best of everything. We thank our guest, Bryan Yarbro, for being here. And we out. We'll see you next Wednesday.
And let's hear some music, can we?
Ruby, Mother, and Tuesdays.
This show is all about diversity and bringing everyone together. You never know who you're going to see at Ruby Tuesdays.